So today, lads, I'm going to be ranking the entire WNBA off season. I'm not necessarily going to be ranking this in power rankings, but we have got 5 different categories. We have got contenders. These are the teams that I think have built a squad that gives them a legitimate shot at winning a WNBA championship this season. And I feel a lot of people are going to be like, oh, this team just didn't really get better. But it's like, well, if they won a championship last year and on paper they're better than last year, yeah, you're a winner. You're a winner. We then have IC Division. And these are teams that may have regressed or may have made some moves and slightly changed their timelines. And I'm like, okay, I get it. These are teams that have got better. This is which is an improvement from last year. Then we have did what they could. This is, given the circumstances, they did the best they could. And it'll be very obvious what teams I'm going to be putting in there. Well, you'll see. And then we've got just why. So I'm going to shift all of these up because I don't want to just go over the three expansion teams at the end. There we go. And yeah, that's fine. So the Chicago Sky, I'm going to put them right bang smack in the middle of got better. This is a team that was tied worst in the league last year and is now a playoff contender. This team is absolutely a playoff contender. And it's a team that should make it. If they don't make it, I would be shocked. And yeah, I can't say that much more. I think this is a really solid team. I'm not going to pretend this is this unbelievable basketball team or anything. But they're a team that, if all goes well, they probably have a ceiling of 4th seed, a floor of 9th seed. And I don't think that's bad, especially from where they came from. The Phoenix Mercury, this is in fact the old logo. This logo's terrible, but it's so much better than the M&M's logo they have at the minute. Phoenix Mercury. I'm going to put them in did what they could, because they didn't get better. Satu wanted to go to New York. And how did they replace Satu? Because they also had to have there was also the problem with replacing Satu of it becomes tougher to keep a big 3, cap space wise. So they wanted to keep Kalia Copper, and they replaced Satu by bringing back Duana Bonner, who I thought was okay for them last year, let's be real, and bringing in Valu Ayayi. One of those is going to take Satu's spot in the starting lineup, and Ayayi is one of the best players from overseas. So I think they did what they could. I think they've recruited well. I think they brought in a lot, and I mean a lot of the best undrafted free agents, and giving them a shot. I think this is a team who didn't take anyone in the draft, but probably got the equivalent of, they got players that people were talking about maybe creeping into the first round. So I think they did what they could. Didn't get better, but I don't think they had a bad offseason at all. Connecticut Sun, they did what they could. They're paying big money to Brittany Griner and Kennedy Burke for 1 year. This is a team who won 11 games last year, is going to win 14 games this year. This is an organization that does not care about, they don't care about tanking for Juju and giving Houston Juju. They don't care. So I would say, I'd be very close to, if this was a team, if they were already the Houston Comets, I would say just why. Because again, they're not going to be bad enough to get into the Juju Watkins sweepstakes, and they're not going to be good enough to make the playoffs. But at the same time, they might just about be bad enough. They'll be better than last year. I love their backcourt. Then we have the Wings, my first team that I'm putting in just why. And a lot of people love what the Dallas Wings have done in the offseason. They're like, well, look, they're the worst team. They were the worst team in the WNBA last season, and now they're fighting for the playoffs. And I'm like, exactly. It is as simple as that. I will say the word exactly as to why the Dallas Wings should be in just why. Because they won 10 games last year. They have a head start. If you guys don't know, the Indiana Fever were not the worst team in the WNBA before Caitlin Clark got there. They were just so bad the year before, 2 years before she got there. That they still had the best odds for number 1 overall pick. The Dallas Wings won 10 games last year. All they had to do was, even if you want to take it easy, all they had to do was just sign a bunch of young players, let Paige go, or let Enrique go, and let Paige just do whatever the fuck she wants this year. Let Paige lead the league in scoring. Run every single play to Paige Bueckers. Make it the when Homer Simpson's comes on when he's talking about Snoopy, or is it whatever, not Snoopy, whatever the dog is, Poochie. And it's like, when Poochie's not on screen, every character should come in and be like, where's Poochie? It should be like, when Paige doesn't have the ball, every player should be like, where's Paige? Where's Paige? Let Paige have her Westbrook season. Let Paige set the all-time scoring record for points in a season. But you got to be bad. You got to be bad, because there are two teams that are going to be really, really bad. And you won 10 games. You have a 6-game head start on one of the teams who won 16 games last year. And you're probably not going to get there with Toronto. But for the chance to pair up Paige Bueckers with Juju Watkins, you blew that. And not only that, you blew this season, you blew next offseason and the offseason after by signing up Enrique and Alana Smith long term, so you can't afford anyone else. This is a team that is Paige Bueckers could be the best player in the world, and they're still not going to be contenders in the next 3 years. That's not good. Putting yourself in that position is not good. And you drafted the win now player. You drafted the win now player and only signed win now players. And Awak's got one more year left until she can walk. So it doesn't seem like the most ideal situation in the world for a team that could have been one more year of tanking away from putting together an insane team. The Indiana Fever. No one really wanted to come to Indiana. If they either tied down Sophie long term for a little bit less money, or if they had drafted a Sophie Cunningham replacement and not wasted the number 10 pick on the cheapest archetype of player, which is undersized point guard, I would put them in got better. Because I think on paper, they're better. They're not better than last season on paper. We thought Natasha Howard was coming in to do something big. We thought DeWanna Bonner was coming in to still be DeWanna Bonner. No, I nobody wanted to come to Indy. I like the Maisha Hines-Allen. I think they would be in just why if they didn't sign if MHA and Ty Harris. But Ty Harris is a fantastic signing. MHA is a fantastic signing at her price. Mo Billings is fine. You got Sophie back for another year, I guess. And at least there is flexibility to try and negotiate with Sophie next year. But yeah, it's I'll put them in, did what they could. Mystics. The Washington Mystics. This is a team that effing sucks. I see the vision. They are ethically tanking. And what does that mean? People are like, what do you mean? They're ethically tanking. This is going to be a good team. They draft learn bets. Their two best players play the same position and can't play with each other. Or sorry, their drafted player plays the same position as their max contract player, and they can't play it. They're going to back each other up. They won't play at the same time. They're trying to develop. The rumor is their starting shooting guard is going to be Dugalich, who's a 6'4" power forward. I reckon Kiki Uriafen's going to be playing the 3 at times. Citron's going to be playing the point at times. Nobody on this team can shoot. They are going to be the most fun. And by the way, why are they doing this? Because the Chicago Sky pick swap is not going to convey. They are smart. This organization is not dumb. They know they still, going all in would be dumb when they have a plethora of picks over the next while. And Juju Watkins is coming in she's coming in next year's draft. And if the Washington Mystics win, because teams like the Wings and Sun are going to go for it. They won 16 games last year. What they're going to have to do to get themselves even like a 20% chance at getting Juju Watkins. What you have to do is realistically be bad enough that your average wins are probably 13 wins. And to do that, you win 10 games. They are actively, like you're seeing it, this is a team that's actively going to be fun and trying to lose. You're like, oh, but like, how are they going to get worse than last year? They went 2-14 to end last season. Let's not get it twisted. They tanked last year and they're going to tank this year. Like, they literally fired Eric, or was it Mike Tebow? Whichever Tebow was, both Tebows left because the organization said, we want to tank. It seems like they fired the GM because the organization still wanted to tank and she didn't. This is a team that wants to lose. Don't get twisted. This team wants to lose short term and then stack up. I see the vision. The LA Sparks got better. This is a team that didn't make the playoffs last year. That's absolutely guaranteed to make the playoffs this year. In a similar boat to the Sky, quite an old team. I would say probably you're looking at a team that has a absolute like ceiling of 3rd seed, a floor of 7th seed. This team is slightly higher ceiling, slightly higher floor than Chicago, but a solid team. The Valks, they did what they could. They're running it back. They lost Hemi and Mo Billings. They lost Carla Late in the expansion draft, which is rough. They lost but they did gain Shisite, who's very, very good. So, yeah, I will say it is one of these things where it's one of those genuinely things where Gabby Williams is a big get. They're going to continue to be on the margins. And you know what? Purely for the flaw, Jay, I'm putting them in just Y. Purely for flaw, Jay. Like, I understand. The rumor is that they wanted one of two players. They either wanted to stash Iana Martin or they wanted Gabriela Jaquez immediately and didn't feel like anyone else could make their team. Flaw J. Johnson could have been a big player on this team and would have been the star in Golden State. I don't get it. Like, best here, worst here. Tempo, why? Just why? Like, they tried to do what the Valkyries did last year, did it worse. And they're going to win 18 games. Like, they spent the entirety of their cap space for the next 2 years. They don't even have cap space next year. Like, this team doesn't have cap space for the foreseeable. For what reason? For reasons I don't know. Like, they don't have cap space for quite a while. And they're not going to be good either. In the expansion draft, they just took a bunch of win-now players. They signed a bunch of win-now players. They don't have... Like, Kiki Rice was a good pick, I guess. But, like, why are they trying to recreate the Valks when it's significantly better to just tank for Juju? Portland, I see the vision. All you did was draft high upside players. Your best player might be Bridget Carlton. You might be the worst team in the history of the WNBA. You might go 4-40. You actually might go and lose 40 games. But I see the vision. Go guarantee yourself Juju or Madison Booker. Guarantee yourself Juju or Madison Booker. I'm telling you. That is the move. I see the vision. Seattle, I see the vision. You drafted Awa Fam. I don't get why Ezi Magbagor ended up being the highest paid player at the time, highest paid contract ever at the time. I don't get that. That being said, I see the vision. You're going to have Awa Fam, a small forward reps. You're going to have the triple bigs reps. Like, I see the vision. And you're going to be bad enough this year. You're not going to be in the Juju sweepstakes, but you might be in the Michaela Williams sweepstakes in the top 4 or 5 picks. I see the vision. You were 500 last year. I see the vision. Then we got contenders. The Aces got better. The Aces drafted a super high upside player in Janiah Barker, which is a fantastic pick, by the way. They drafted Janiah Barker. If it doesn't work out, cool. They don't replay rookies that much. If it does work out, it's a steal of the draft. Not only did they draft Janiah Barker, they brought in Kennedy Carter on a minimum contract. They brought in, Kennedy on a minimum. They brought in, Steph Talbot near a minimum, who's a solid player, and Chian Parker Tyus, not coming off maternity leave, is going to be a lot better. The Atlanta Dream. You see, this just depends on the health of Bree Jones. I'll put him in got better. Angel Reese is a clear upgrade over nobody. Like, over Brittany Griner, Angel Reese is a clear upgrade. Especially how Smesco wants to play. But like nobody over 6'3". Oh, they got Midi. I don't think O'Cott's ready, to be honest. Yeah, I'll put them in got better because they did improve. I don't think I'm gonna quite put them in contenders category, but like I think they're kind of in my next batch of teams, which is like I think like the Sparks, the Dream, the Fever, the Mercury, all of them have a puncher's chance of making the finals. So yeah, put them there. The Minnesota Lynx. I actually think Minnesota Lynx did what they could. Their entire starting five commanded max contracts elsewhere. Like, there's only so much you can do. There's actually only so much you can do. When Jess Shepard, when your entire starting five combined and Jess Shepard would have made up the salary cap. Would have been over the salary cap. The entire starting five and Jess Shepard is $7.2 million to re-sign. It was an impossibility. It was an impossibility to re-sign them. I don't hate the Natasha Howard signing. I like the Nia Coffey signing. I like that they've managed to get Dorka back. There's a lot of things I like about their offseason. They just obviously couldn't keep Jess Shepard, Alana Smith, or Natisha Heidemann because they commanded way over what I believe is their true market value. So, look, I don't think they signed, other than maybe Courtney, I don't think they signed a bad contract. I think they did what they could. They got worse, clearly got worse, but they're still not a bad team. And look, they couldn't afford to keep some of these teams. It was just crazy. And then New York Liberty managed to get Sadu Sabli for Natasha Howard money. Clearly contenders. Clearly these are the two contending teams. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if these are not the teams that are in the finals this year. This might be 2023 all over again, where it's like, let's just wait until it's the New York Liberty versus the Aces in the finals. I still think there are teams with punches chances. I still think the Fever, the Mercury, the Dream, and the Sparks have a punches chance, especially in the playoffs, but that chance significantly decreases now with the first round being best of 5. So if it was teams can win best of 3 series. Teams can fluke best of 3 series. Let's be honest. The Seattle Storm were a botched defensive play by Neko Nwumike away from the finals last year because they would have beaten the Fever as well. Like, the Atlanta Dream were, like, if it was, there were the playoffs last year was 2 botched defensive plays. As in, like, with Bree Jones and Neka, the 2 most experienced players on their teams, just having brain farts and forgetting they were playing basketball and like literally just not guarding somebody. Like, it was just a complete switch their brain off. And they happened within like 15 minutes of each other. There was literally 2 of those happened in back-to-back games. And if Bree Jones and Neka switched on for one defense, it would have been Seattle versus Atlanta for a spot in the finals. And the Mercury probably win the title. Like, it was nearly that crazy in best of 3. But yeah, that is the video. Is my opinion. I'll see you guys.